So a couple of years ago, July of 2017, and this is, kind of my story over the past few years. July of 2017, I made a conscious decision to take what was a lifestyle business and move it to something more significant and substantive.
Mm-hmm.
And I say significant and substantive because if back then, if I were to get hit by a bus, the business was going to struggle. I mean, like, I'm at the point.
Right.
I touch everything. Was. Yeah, right.
In appropriate ways.
Appropriate ways. We will talk about that. That has to come up.
Okay.
In appropriate ways. Very important. And frankly, I was on a cruise. This was my realization. I'm on a cruise. We're in the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It is payroll day. I get an email that it's payroll, and I am the only one who can approve payroll at that time.
Oh.
Well, guess what? I couldn't get on the internet to approve payroll.
Mm-hmm. Because you're in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. So I did it the following day in port. It was fine. I thought we needed 3 days. It was only 2 days. But the point is that I had a realization that I was the bottleneck.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leading with Audacious Confidence. I'm your host, Alicia Khoury, and today with me is Peter Verlezza. And let me tell you about Peter because we're going to have a lot of fun today. Peter is the managing partner of SMB Networks, LLC, a technology services company in Connecticut. He is the author of 3 books, Hassle-Free IT MD, the ultimate medical practice guide for finding a professional, competent, honest, considerate, on-time, fairly priced, and dependable computer. And the 2 Amazon best-selling books, The Tech Multiplier and The Business Owner's Essential Guide to IT and All Things Digital. I think he used all the words in the dictionary. He was one of the executive producers and appeared in the full-length documentary titled Cybercrime, It's Not a Question of If, It's a Question of When. Dun, dun, dun. His company made the Inc. 5,000 list of the fastest growing companies in the United States. And I am so excited to have on the show Peter Verlezza. Hi, Peter. Thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you. I was looking forward to this.
Good, good. And I won't tell them what you did in preparation for it.
Right. Please don't.
You don't. But, the first question I ask all my guests is, what is your leadership philosophy, Peter?
What is my leadership philosophy? Well, I think it boils down to our core values.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interweaved or interwoven with our core values. Trust is a big one. If somebody makes a commitment, I want them to keep the commitment from me and from the people that I surround myself with. We have a whatever it takes attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a positive environment. I was told once by a person who shall remain
nameless.
Yeah, who shall remain nameless. I was told once that that's probably not a healthy thing because not everyone can be positive all the time, and I embrace that. That person's dead to me now, but I embrace it. And so,
what I didn't mention in your bio is you're a part-time comedian.
I am a part-time comedian. I probably will never make money doing it because I'm not that good. But I do like to laugh and make people laugh. But rather than a positive, I don't want negativity or drama. That just brings everybody down. So team-oriented, our organization, although it has hierarchy, looks pretty flat. There's an open environment. Again, everybody can talk to anyone about anything, and that's kind of how I am.
That's great.
Globally.
That is great. How long did it take you to get to that kind of awareness, like that's how you want to lead?
It took some time, and it was it wasn't by accident. It was by need.
Mm,
We things If you keep doing the same thing over and over and you keep yielding the same result, to continue means you're insane. You have to change something.
right.
So just not seeing other styles work kind of led me to doing the things that really felt comfortable and was the way that I am in regular life anyway.
Hmm.
So just kind of push them down.
So speaking, we kind of alluded to that just now, having to grow into this. What would you say was like your biggest pitfall in your leadership journey?
um Probably not open and honest communication, two-way open and honest communication.
Mhm.
Trust is a big deal.
Right,
And the only way to be able to trust someone is to have two-way open and honest communication.
right.
The,
Is there a specific incident or anything that happened that you were like, oh, this needs to change?
yeah. I had a guy that worked for me who had I was working in Manhattan. I had this account executive that worked for me who had, like, his grandmother died like 17 times. Every time he was late or every time there was an issue, it's like somebody died. It was his grandmother mostly. And I'm like, dude, how many grandmothers do you have?
Foster kid, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that was one of those incidents that you just have to address the situation
Mm,
up close and personal. And this isn't working. You aren't being truthful and trustworthy with me, and we just have to address it. There's a
yeah.
lot of incidents like that, but it's again, handling it the way that I did or wasn't working.
Hmm.
um, the other important thing is to surround yourself with people who are of a common mind.
Yeah. Um, I know that, there are a lot of people because we're working with people all the time. So people are the greatest expense and resource of an organization.
Mhm.
And so as leaders, it's important to get to know who you're working with. And so how do you like foster that relationship to understand people's blind spots, how to lead them, how to manage them? How do you do that?
um, that's a good question, and it kind of going to lead me down a couple of places. So again, we have a pretty open environment.
Hmm.
We regularly communicate. So every morning at 7:59, literally 7:59, because 7:59 is a real time.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, people think that there's like a 5-minute window on either side of it. It's like, let's have a meeting at 8 o'clock and somebody shows up at 8:03.
Yeah.
Well, it's close to 8. 7:59 is a time. Anyway,
Okay.
so at 7:59, I'm pretty loose about a lot of things, and there are other things that I'm not loose about.
Hmm.
Um, and that
That's
is
one of them. 7:59.
conflicting. Right. So
Yeah.
it's 7:59. So we do our daily huddle, and a daily huddle is, you go around the room. We want to hear from everyone. A win, gratitude, props out to someone. I want to start on a positive note.
Hmm.
Really, one of the other things that we're doing or trying to get to is where people's heads are at.
Hmm.
Um,
Especially in this environment that we're in right now.
Now, especially,
Yeah.
Well, so interestingly enough, for me, and I've been doing this for years. Um, for me, yes, now it's even more important, but it's always been important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to find out on Tuesday that someone's been out of the game for a couple of days because I have not been mindful. I didn't pass them in the hall. We didn't have any communication.
Mm-hmm.
So our daily gatherings are managing by walking around,
Mm-hmm.
uh, our weekly meetings, and just trying to get everybody into the same place so that we know who's where and what they're doing. And that's,
So do you have one-on-ones with people all throughout the week, or is it just that morning huddle that everybody comes together and that's where you get a sense of where everyone is?
we, yeah, one-on-ones don't happen weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they probably happen on a little less frequent a basis for some of the people. There are others that we do have, daily communication and
Mm-hmm.
meeting with, but so no, there's not a lot of one-on-ones on a weekly basis, but more on I shouldn't say on an as needed basis, but regularly scheduled, just not as frequent.
Right. Okay, well, that's great. I mean, because it's really important to, as the leader of an organization, especially one as successful as yours, where you are in that Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company category. It's important to have your finger on the pulse of the people that you're managing. So, how did was the Inc. 5,000 on your radar? Was that a plan, or was that something that you were like, hey, wait a minute, we can probably qualify for this? How did that all come together?
That's a very good question. You're very good. You're very good at this.
Thank you.
No, by itself, it was not on the radar. So I am quite a bit older than you are. So the expression "it's all downhill from here"
Right.
is something that sounds like it's easy and positive, right? Because you're at the top of the hill and you're going
Yeah,
down.
you're going, it's all down. Yeah, it's like we're just
So is it
coasting.
all uphill from here or is it all downhill from here? I mean, I guess it's your perspective,
Yeah.
right? It's like above par and below par. Are you playing golf or
Are you
not?
playing golf or not? Right.
Right. So a couple of years ago, July of 2017, and this is, kind of my story over the past few years. July of 2017, I made a conscious decision to take what was a lifestyle business and move it to something more significant and substantive.
Mm-hmm.
And I say significant and substantive because if back then, if I were to get hit by a bus, the business was going to struggle. I mean, like, I'm at the point.
Right.
I touch everything. Or was. Yeah, right.
In appropriate ways.
In appropriate ways. We will talk about that. That has to come up.
Okay.
In appropriate ways. Very important. And frankly, I was on a cruise. This was my realization. I'm on a cruise. We're in the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It is payroll day. I get an email that it's payroll, and I'm the only one who can approve payroll at that time.
Oh.
Well, guess what? I couldn't get on the internet to approve payroll.
Mm-hmm. Because you're in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. So I did it the following day in port. It was fine. I thought we needed 3 days. It was only 2 days. But the point is that I had a realization that I was the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I decided that I was going to do what was necessary to make it such that there was no one person, including myself, that held the keys to the castle. That if we lost those keys, we had a problem. So
Right.
So at that point, I did what I'll call is getting back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at lots of different things, and went back to the basics of building a business. You know, seeking your existing, first of all, quantifying what your target market is, developing your unique selling proposition, determining what your core values are, visiting with your existing clients, just all the basics.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew in that, 2.5 years by 140 some percent, 142%.
Wow. I love that because you became self-aware and took responsibility for the fact that you were holding the company back. Like
Correct.
and that is a brave look at your own leadership, because you're like saying, well, in order to scale this and for this to grow, I have to be the leader and step back and allow other people to take the lead.
I
And
can't
not just
myself,
me. Yeah. And
right?
that is, I love that. I love that
Yeah.
awareness that you had to make that shift. And since then it was like, phew.
Yeah, and I'd love to say that there was some magic. There wasn't. You
But
just
it's
used.
like basketball. They say we always had to get to the fundamentals. I forgot what the coach's name. I should know this, but he would start every training camp with the fundamentals. We
Correct.
start. This is how you dribble the ball, and people are like, well, we're professionals. We know how to do. Say, nope, we're going back to the basics. We got to start with the fundamentals.
That's exactly right. And just getting back to basics. And once you have the basics down, interestingly enough, when you get into the routine, it sets you free.
Yeah.
Because
And I love that you said routine, because that's my next question is, what's the day in the life of Peter Verlezza look like?
it's very scary. It's very scary. Right now, I happen to be sitting in a building that we're renovating, and they
Sequestered you.
pardon me?
You're sequestered.
I am sequestered. I'm in the basement, but they put the final coat of polyurethane on the floors yesterday. So it's like I got a little like poly high going on here. It's like so that's today's day. I'm gonna have to go into
the life of today's day.
I'm going to detox or something. A day in the life. It starts early. I'm a very
what I'm
early,
hearing. It starts early. What is early? Because early for you and early for me are two different things.
that is very true. It starts with a 5.
With a 5. Okay. I know many leaders, many executives, many CEOs start their day at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's no alarm. If
the body gets up at 5 and you start.
Correct. Once my eyes open, my feet have to touch the ground, and I have to go, and I have to, drink a pot of French press coffee, and I'm doing all the busy work, not all the busy work. I'm doing busy work at that point in time. Doing some reading. If there's anything I want to do on social media, things that I could do,
This is your time to prep for the day ahead.
Correct.
Yeah.
Things that I could do in the dark and in the quiet.
Yeah.
Literally from the couch. Get to the office early-ish, prep for the day, prep for my meeting. I mentor a lot of people.
7:59 meeting.
That's 7:59. It's a big deal.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's like, again, routine sets you free.
Yeah, I just did an interview, and he was talking about his calendar. Everything is scheduled. Everything.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you? Everything.
It is. So I'm probably not as good as I could or should be.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't make an appointment with myself, chances are that thing slides.
Mm.
And then I hear myself saying, I don't have time to. What I really mean is,
I didn't make the time.
This wasn't important enough, and I didn't make the time for. And it's and that's kind of everything. That is marketing activities. That is our meetings. That is a quarterly business review with a client. It's whatever it happens to be, and that's really
time, like you were saying.
Correct. Correct. That's playing pickleball or doing whatever else you do. Pickleball, very fun sport.
I've never played pickleball. What is pickleball?
Pickle. So imagine a tennis court
Uh-huh.
that's small. Small.
Okay.
A pickleball court basically would fit side to side in a tennis court. There's a net. It's a wiffle-like ball. You use a paddle,
Hmm.
and it is, less strain and stress on the body. So people such as myself tend to, who don't want to play tennis because I don't want to bust.
Run, run up and down.
Correct. Play pickleball. And it's like one of the fastest growing sports. It's been around for a bunch of years. And I, try to play a couple, 3 times a week. And I get a little
Nice.
excited and overly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Staying active, keeping that energy up. So that's great.
Got to do it. So let's talk about, if you don't mind.
I was just going to segue there.
Go ahead, do it.
I was just going to talk about, touching in appropriate ways.
Let's talk about that. That is, and
I'm reading your mind, Peter.
you are like,
we're simpatico.
You got something going on there. So touching people in appropriate ways. A bunch of years ago, I was at a conference. Dr. Nido Qubein, who is the president of High Point University, talked about how to differentiate yourself and how to connect with your audience and the kinds of things that you could do that are different and unique and really do set you apart. Differentiators, becoming the just being unique and being able to identify it. And I focused in on this touching people in appropriate ways concept. And really what it means is there's no physical touching involved in my TPIAW world. And I'm not going to make the joke that I made at Caroline's back in January because we're too close to the election.
Caroline's Comedy Club, for those of you who don't know what that was.
Caroline's Comedy Club. That was my first attempt at comedy. And
it was good. It was good.
Well. Yeah, it went pretty well. I really enjoyed it. So it is
on your barf bag.
What's that?
Sorry, your notes on the barf bag.
My notes on the barf bag. You know what?
You're set on the barf bag. Yeah, that was cool.
I thought the marshal on the airplane was going to shoot me or something. He's like, "What are you writing over there on your
ransom note? Your manifesto?
Manifesto? You got people's names on it? Yeah. That's very good. That's very good. So touching people in appropriate ways. It's first identifying who your audience is. So for us, for SMB networks, our audience primarily, although we provide technology support for all different kinds of businesses, our primary focus is private community-based medical practices. Mm-hmm. The person that runs a private community-based medical practice that we do business with is someone that identifies as a medical practice administrator or manager or executive. Mm-hmm. So there are appropriate, so first you identify your audience, and we did medical, and our avatar is this practice administrator. The second thing you do is come up with ways to connect with them that are appropriate for that avatar. So as a, for instance, just use social media. Our medical practice executives typically are not on LinkedIn.
Really?
Yes, they are on Facebook. By the way, we know that our avatar is a certain age range and a certain sex. Mm-hmm. So being aware and mindful of who it is that you want to connect to, and then how it is that you want to connect with them is important. They have to be appropriate. And the third part of touching people in appropriate ways is how to communicate with them in ways that are appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So, for us, it's our population doesn't like, as a for instance, electronic newsletters. So we do hard copy newsletters. I've been doing them for years. We send out about 500 a month.
Mm.
And when asking my community if they would like us to go electronic, they're like, no, don't do that. I don't care about the trees. I want, and I asked the question, like, why wouldn't you want an electronic newsletter? Well, I can share the hard copy around the office. I can see the articles and the shiny new gadget of the month.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, I could take it home with me and I could read it while I'm having a cup of coffee. So that is an appropriate touch for my audience that I didn't just kind of make up.
Mm-hmm.
It's being mindful, being aware, being connected, and hearing what someone wants. So another appropriate touch. We were doing, up until this pandemic thing, we were doing seminars on a pretty regular basis. These were seminars that were delivering a message to our audience that they wanted. And by the way, they were not thinly veiled sales pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Our audience wants to be educated.
Right.
They don't want to know what technology is going to do for them. A lot of the stuff that we think they're interested in, they aren't. So what do? You ask them. They tell you what they want to be educated with. We know that they want to be inspired and humored. So we put meetings together that will bring the people together that are giving them what it is that they want, not what it is that we want to deliver.
Mm.
What it does, though, is it sets us up with expert status for that community, mm-hmm. because we brought them content that they wanted.
Right.
Not content we wanted to deliver.
Yeah. Ask the questions.
Yeah, and listen to the answers. Don't just wait for your next time to speak. Ask the question, listen to what the person is saying, and then put it into your equation.
Mm.
People will tell you what they want if you simply listen to what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not in the words. Sometimes it's in the nuance. Sometimes it's in the nonverbal communication. But you do have to, you have to have that mindset. So the whole, I did a podcast. It's been kind of on hold for a while, but you have given me some.
I've reignited the fire.
You have reignited the fire. I believe that you're going to be a guest on TPIAW, and the podcast. It started out as explaining the
whole concept of it.
Yeah. But after the first 3 episodes, I began to interview people to ask them what is an appropriate touch in their business or profession. Mm-hmm. And, some examples. If I were a pediatrician who is talking to kids about, for instance, not smoking or whatever it happens to be,
right.
If that doctor, if that pediatrician comes into the room and smells of smoke,
yeah, that's
the message is gone.
You've lost. Yeah.
You're incongruent. It's inappropriate. It doesn't fit. So, knowing who your audience is and then being able to connect to them and with them in ways that are meaningful and substantive, mm-hmm. is what the whole TPIAW is about.
Awesome. So yeah. I had, it's on iTunes, the previous episodes, correct?
Yes.
If you want to listen to some of those. And then there is somewhere out there on YouTube, his Caroline's Comedy Club performance. You want to check that out.
If you look on YouTube, it's called Peter Verlezza, CEO. And a professional comedian and I connected up, and he brought this group of 7 of us together to do something called the CEO and Entrepreneurs Stand-Up Challenge. That's what it was called. And it's basically introducing humor to everyday life and the things that you do. And I've always tried to be,
Well, with that positive attitude, you throw in a little humor there. You keep people smiling and working and having fun and enjoying life.
And then they don't know that you don't know what you're talking about, which is perfect. That's what we're trying. So we all got together. It's about 6 weeks. We put each of us put a 15-minute set together, which doesn't sound like a lot of time until you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And the final exam was you got to do your set at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York City.
That sounds like a blast.
It was crazy. I wanted to burst waiting to be introduced,
Mm-hmm.
but got up there. You're talking about real life experiences that you turn into, humorous and funny stories. It really, really was a blast. It's the first time I've ever done it. There may be another time.
Good. And you got some laughs. Yeah.
Most of them were paid laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met people outside. I said, "Here's $20. Come inside. Laugh at anything I say."
Laugh at everything I say. Oh, those were those people. Because there was stuff you were saying and they were just laughing at uncontrollably.
Don't laugh when he says my name, though.
Yeah.
Not appropriate.
Inappropriate.
That's not appropriate laugh time.
So,
yeah, and go ahead.
No, go. You finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I was going to say I do try to do things that make us as an organization stick out, and
like the movie, doing the documentary.
Be unique. Yeah. So the documentary we did, and we've got a second one coming up. We're actually filming at my office next week. The documentary is to set us apart, in a sea of sameness, just to set us apart.
Mm-hmm.
It is on Amazon Prime. It's called Cyber Crime. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's me and 9 of my peers talking about who we are, what we do. Started out as being more a sales and marketing piece, and then people really gravitated to it. It's been viewed millions of minutes now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the exact numbers. It's been out about 7 or 8 months. Number 2 is going to be a little bit more substantive in terms of
storyline.
Content. Yeah, in terms of storyline. Yeah, we're going to talk about the dark web. We're going to talk about
yeah.
And the movie title will be Cybercrime, the Dark Web Uncovered. And there's lots of stuff going on. People have just not
paid attention.
Yeah, they aren't paying attention. So here in Connecticut, we have a parkway it's called the Merritt Parkway or the Wilbur Cross Parkway. It was built, I don't know exactly when, in the 20s, the 30s, whenever. It's a 4-lane, a 2 in each direction, very scenic road that goes from, it just goes across the state. The entrance ramps are almost at a 90-degree angle to the entrance, and there's a stop sign at the entrance ramp.
Mm.
Some aren't 90 degrees, but many of them do not have any way of accelerating. So back when the Merritt Parkway was built, cars went 25 and 30 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So you could pull up to a stop sign and you can get onto the Merritt Parkway. Now cars are going 65 miles an hour on the parkway. You can't get on. So now they've had to redo the entrance ramps to facilitate the changes that have come since.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing when it comes to cyber crime and cybersecurity. What was then isn't now. And if you don't do something to protect yourself, you're going to have an issue. 60% of the searches that we do on the dark web, for instance, yield some information about an individual, a username, a password, an address, a phone number. 60%. That's a lot. And
that is a lot.
We share too much on social media. We have we are using the same usernames and passwords everywhere. It's just mindfulness is the first
from the process.
Correct. So Movie 2 will have a little bit more of that. Go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
how to protect yourself on that. That's and the laws, because I was just going to talk about the laws aren't moving fast enough either to protect you.
Correct. You do have to take personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
must
people put stuff out there. I may have, I don't know, but I try not to. But people
well,
put
actually,
stuff out there that's
people say to me, I actually had to change things up a little bit, talk about, and we didn't talk about an alter ego, but we talked about the comedy thing. So I have this kind of alter ego. I speak on cybercrime pretty regularly, or did. haven't since. Actually, my last time was at Florida Atlantic University in Boca.
in Boca. All right,
Yep.
you were down my neck of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. And I found that I was getting kind of ho-hum reactions to the message, not the messenger. People like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Facebook, I know, yeah, my passwords. No one's ever going to guess my password. So I thought I have to change things up a little bit. And I came up with this alter ego character. His name is Sergey.
I've seen Sergey.
Okay,
On
Sergey.
your video.
Sergey is from Berserkistan, and he is a cyber criminal. And he says that he's a very successful cyber criminal, and he lives in a villa in Berserkistan. He has all of your information, and most of it you've shared with him. He didn't even have to go and get it. He has your name and your address and the school you went to, and your children's names and your grandchildren's names, your high school, your mascot, your bank where you work, your spouse's name, and when you got married, and all that you shared with him. So now let's take that a little bit further. So I do a presentation for a medical association, and the executive director, I asked if I could get a little bit, kind of get close to the edge with my presentation. She said, that's cool. So unfortunately, she was the one that I got to the edge with. And it was very uncomfortable during the.
It wasn't cool at that point.
But I'll tell you what I did. Very simple. I went online and I searched for her name and the city that she lived in. And I got all sorts of information. So now at the meeting, I am going through my slides. Slide comes up is a picture of the house that she lives in. It was pretty simple. I got it from Zillow.
Right.
So here's the house that she lived in. Here's the year that she moved in. Here's her maiden name. Now these are bullet points. Here's her husband's name. Here's her children's names. She was she went to Penn State, and she's president of the Alumni Association. Oh, and then I put that we were at this medical meeting on this particular day at this particular. It was at the Delray Beach Golf Club. So I put all these details down. So now, as soon as the picture came up, she stood up. She's like, I said, does anybody know is this anybody's house? I knew whose house it was.
Right.
All right. So again, this is a message that I'm trying to get across. So here's all this information. By the way, all I did was a search for her name and her city. And things came up from LinkedIn, Facebook, every place that you could imagine, the website for the organization she worked for. So I said, so now you're the president of the Alumni Association for Penn State back when. Here's how I would use this information. I see that you're at a meeting from noon until 2 at the Delray Beach Golf Club. I see your daughter got married 3 weeks ago. I see blah, 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 all this information. I call your office and I say, hi, this is Peter. I'm on the Alumni Association with this person. We're supposed to get an email out yesterday to our members. I didn't get her the information. And I am schmoozing my way with your secretary, not to send me any information, but simply for her to take that I have. In it, there's a link that goes to a website that looks exactly like the Penn State Alumni Association fundraising site. And with a little bit of luck, and I know that you're not available because you're at the meeting that we are in right now. I'm calling at 12:15.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get her to do something that she wouldn't under normal circumstances do, because I told her we were at the wedding 2 weeks ago and it was a beautiful wedding and your daughter so-and-so and your grandchildren. I said, that's how the information gets used.
Wow.
That's
So now I've embedded a link that scrapes
correct.
everything out of your computer when you go in there.
Or you send the email out to the Alumni Association, everybody's making donations to a bogus organization. Being mindful, being aware, asking the questions, don't.
But they're using our, ability to trust, like our, just being nice against us.
Totally. Social. That's the social engineering part of it.
Yeah. That we've been conditioned to be nice. We've been conditioned to be polite, and it's being used against us for nefarious ways.
Correct.
We need to do this interview, continue this cyber security business on another interview, because we're running out of time. But something I learned very important about cybersecurity was to lie when you have those questions, like all those security questions, security questions. It's like, somebody says you have to tell the truth.
That's exactly right. And when you start to do surveys on a Facebook, and you're answering questions like, what was the color of your first car? And they're all security questions.
They're all security questions. Lie.
Stay away.
Yeah. So like, people automatically assume, because I'm always in red, that red's my favorite color, but it's not.
Aha. All right, another piece of information that Sergey will use. My red, but nobody knows what my favorite color is. You can keep guessing. I'm gonna go check on the dark web.
Go check on the dark web. See if you, and let me know if you find my favorite color. All right. Well, Peter, this has been phenomenal. I hope that those who are listening, you gave a lot of nuggets in leadership, as well as just what you do as an expert in cybersecurity. I did want to ask you another question though, but do you have one more minute to indulge one more question? Because I wanted to ask where your level of confidence comes from. Like, where did that come from for you? Is it just being Italian, being from New York? Am I stereotyping you?
Well, you know, stereotyping and profiling, there's a reason people don't like it.
Why?
Because it's sometimes a little
true. Because it's
true. It's just a little too accurate sometimes. That's a very good question. I don't know that I have an answer to it. It's not always been like this or this way. I think maybe I just became more comfortable with who I am and was, and not to
well,
say.
I think that's a great answer. That as you grow into it, you become more comfortable with who you are.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say I don't care what people think, because that wouldn't be true, but
it holds less value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know better than the people who are thinking the whatever they're thinking, because I can look at it.
I'm sorry.
Hello.
I tried to hold on to it before you finished.
All right. Well, that's, I want to sneeze so bad because of the smell in this place, but I
think it's being translated to me.
Exactly. Do me a favor. Blow out a good sneeze for me.
Yay. And on that note,
yes. Well,
I'm COVID negative, by the way, so you're not going to catch anything.
Me too. Me too. I just got the results today.
Yay! So we're both COVID negative this week.
I'm good. I'm good.
We're good.
Communicate it via Zoom meeting, although I do have a mask here just in case.
Good, just in case. I have mine here too, just in case.
Perfect.
So as we close, I just want to remind all those leaders out there to be bold, be brave, and step into your own leadership with audacious confidence. Until next time, I'll see you. This is Alicia Khoury saying bye.
Thank you.
Audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so brave and so bold that you step into what's possible despite your feelings, fears, or failures. I encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share this out with your friends. To check out more episodes of this podcast, visit our blog, aliciakhoury.com/podcast. This is Alicia Khoury inviting you to lead your life, your teams, and your organization with audacious confidence. Until next time.